We often grow up believing that love is supposed to feel intense, overwhelming, and even painful. Movies show passion as chaos, songs glorify heartbreak, and stories frame suffering as proof that love is real. Over time, many of us start confusing love with trauma, not because we want to suffer, but because pain feels familiar. When something feels familiar, the brain interprets it as safe, even if it is harmful. This is where the confusion begins. Trauma shapes the way we experience emotions, relationships, and attachment. If someone grows up in an environment where love was inconsistent, conditional, or mixed with fear, neglect, or emotional instability, their nervous system adapts to that chaos. As adults.com, unstable love can feel boring or empty, while intense and unpredictable relationships feel exciting and meaningful. This is not because trauma is love, but because trauma trained the brain to associate intensity with connection. Our earliest experiences of love usually come from caregivers. When care is nurturing and consistent, the brain learns that love equals safety, comfort, and trust. But when care is unpredictable, sometimes warm, sometimes cold, the brain learns a different lesson. It learns that love comes with anxiety, waiting, proving worth, or walking on eggshells. That emotional pattern becomes deeply embedded. Later in life, we unconsciously seek relationships that recreate the same emotional environment, not because it feels good, but because it feels known. The nervous system plays a major role in this confusion. Trauma keeps the body in a state of heightened alert. Adrenaline, cortisol, and stress hormones become normal. When a relationship triggers these chemicals through fear of abandonment, jealousy, or emotional unpredictability, the body mistakes that rush for passion. Calm love does not activate these stress responses, so it can feel dull or unreal at first. The body says, something is missing, when in reality, what's missing is chaos. Another reason love and trauma get confused is emotional bonding through pain. When two people experience intense emotional highs and lows together, the bond can feel incredibly strong. This is sometimes called trauma bonding. The relationship cycles between hurt and relief, distance and closeness. Each reunion feels powerful because it temporarily eases the pain. Over time, the brain associates the relief from pain with love itself, rather than recognizing that healthy love should not require suffering first. Low self-worth also fuels this confusion. Trauma often teaches people that they must earn love, tolerate mistreatment, or sacrifice themselves to be chosen. When someone believes they are not inherently lovable, they may interpret neglect or emotional unavailability as a challenge rather than a red flag. Being chosen by someone who is distant or inconsistent feels validating, as if winning their affection proves personal worth. In reality, this dynamic reinforces trauma, not love. Cultural narratives make this worse. Many stories romanticize toxic behaviors, jealousy as passion, control as care, emotional pain as depth. We are told that love should hurt, that fighting means you care, and that obsession equals devotion. These ideas blur the line between emotional damage and genuine connection. When trauma survivors consume these narratives, it confirms what their nervous system already believes, that love is supposed to be hard and painful. Fear of abandonment is another powerful factor. Trauma, especially emotional neglect or loss, can create a deep fear of being left. This fear makes people cling to relationships that hurt them, because leaving feels more terrifying than staying. The anxiety of potential abandonment keeps the attachment alive, even when the relationship itself is damaging. The person may confuse this fear-driven attachment with love simply because the emotional intensity is so strong. Healthy love, by contrast, often feels quiet. It does not demand constant proof or emotional labor. It does not trigger constant anxiety. For someone used to trauma, this calmness can feel unfamiliar or even threatening. The mind may interpret peace as lack of connection, when it is actually a sign of emotional safety. Healing often requires relearning what love feels like in the body, not just understanding it intellectually. The confusion between love and trauma is also reinforced by repetition. The brain seeks patterns. When a certain type of emotional experience repeats over time, it becomes the default. Even when someone recognizes that a relationship is unhealthy, their body may still crave it. This is not weakness, it is conditioning. Trauma wires the brain for survival, not happiness. It prioritizes what is predictable over what is healthy. Breaking this confusion requires awareness and patience. The first step is recognizing that intensity does not equal intimacy. Love does not need to be proven through pain. A relationship that constantly hurts is not deep, it is dysregulating. Learning to tolerate healthy love can feel uncomfortable at first, because the nervous system is adjusting to a new baseline. Discomfort during healing does not mean something is wrong. It means something is changing. Boundaries are another key part of healing. Trauma often teaches people to ignore their own needs to keep connection. Healthy love respects limits and does not punish them. Learning to set boundaries can feel scary, especially when past experiences taught that boundaries lead to rejection. But boundaries are not walls. They are filters that protect emotional well-being. Self-compassion is essential in this process. People who confuse love with trauma are not broken. They adapted to survive emotionally. Those adaptations once protected them, but they may no longer serve them. Healing is not about blaming oneself for past choices, but about understanding why those choices made sense at the time. Over time, as the nervous system heals, the definition of love begins to shift. Love starts to feel safe instead of overwhelming. It feels supportive instead of draining. It feels steady instead of unpredictable. This kind of love may not come with dramatic highs, but it offers something far more valuable: emotional security, mutual respect, and genuine connection. Learning the difference between love and trauma is a process, not a moment of realization. Old patterns may resurface, especially under stress. But each time someone chooses peace over chaos, clarity over confusion, they rewire their understanding of love. Slowly, the body learns that safety does not mean boredom, and that calm does not mean absence of passion. In the end, love is not supposed to feel like a wound you keep reopening. It is not meant to constantly test your worth or exhaust your emotions. Real love supports growth, not survival mode. When trauma is healed, love no longer feels like pain with moments of relief. It feels like home, steady, warm, and safe enough to finally rest.